And joining me now is Mr. Mukul Rohatgi, former Attorney General of India. Mr. Rohatgi, I appreciate your time here on NDTV. News has just come in that the Supreme Court has transferred Justice Varma to his parent court, which is the Allahabad High Court, sir. But the court has maintained that it has nothing to do with the cash haul per se. How are you viewing this?
No, Maria, I have never understood this statement that this transfer proposal has nothing to do with this cash scam. According to me, it is because of the cash scam that he is being proposed to be transferred. This notification issued today was also in the air, in the offing in the last 3 or 4 days. And ultimately, the point of transfer, according to me, is not that important because he doesn't have any judicial work. So whether he sits in his house in Delhi or whether he sits in his house in Allahabad, what difference will it make? The real question is that we should come to the bottom of the issue as early as possible, whether the judge is a delinquent, is he guilty of moral turpitude, or he is not and his reputation is being damned. There are several loose ends in this case as till now which need to be answered. So I don't think there is any great thing in saying that the transfer is not connected to the scam. I'm actually mystified by this statement of the Supreme Court.
And Mr. Rohatgi, you know, the issue has reached the Parliament. The MPs are of the opinion that had there been any other non-judge, any other citizen of India, be a politician or a bureaucrat, then it would have led to criminal investigation. The larger question is that does it really stop at an investigation which is clearly an in-house investigation by the judiciary?
No, so now listen, Maria, please understand, and your viewers also must understand. The position of a judge is entirely different from a bureaucrat or a police officer. Why? Because a judge decides cases day in and day out. Every day, one party to a case is dissatisfied and unhappy with the decision because the decision has gone against one party. So there is a natural reaction in our country, which is full of cynics, that the judge may have been bought over or is won over by one party or the other. So large number of complaints are made every day against every judge, whether of the first court, second court, high court or Supreme Court. And therefore you can't start police investigations in every case where people file such complaints also. A judge cannot fearlessly be independent when these swords, several swords are hanging on his head. Therefore, the Parliament in its wisdom talked about impeachment. There is an in-house procedure for looking at some of these sensitive complaints. 99% complaints are thrown in the dustbin. But some complaints do merit some prima facie investigation or maybe a full-blown investigation. Now that is left to the Chief Justice or the Chief Justice of India to decide, because otherwise the system of justice will come to an end. It is this difference which makes a difference between the judiciary and other wings of the executive or even Parliament. This is how we must perceive it. I am not for a moment trying to say that anybody is above the law. Even a judge can be prosecuted, but it requires a nod from the Chief Justice of India. This was settled in a famous case of a judge of the Supreme Court called Veeraswamy. So that's how it goes.
Mr. Rohatgi, this incident, because the cash is now, the image of the cash certainly is out in the public domain, has tarnished the image of judiciary. What measures do you think me lords must take to restore public faith?
So now, Maria, your question is in two parts. First, about recovery of cash. Now, where is that recovery? There is no recovery. There is no evidence. The entire evidence, if at all, has been destroyed by the police, by the fire department. There were a large number of half-burned notes, which I saw very clearly in the video. And I have seen better pictures, including the Free Press Journal of today morning in Mumbai edition. So where are those notes? Where have they gone? Even if 5 lakhs is found in the office of a junior engineer, immediately it is seized. Immediately income tax is brought. Income tax takes over. What has happened in this case? The police commissioner was aware. Now tomorrow morning or the next morning, everything is over. No evidence is found. It's only rubbish there. They say rubbish today, NDMC says, was thrown in the garbage. So what kind of job has the police done? I'm amazed. Can you have a case of corruption where it is with red-handed, kind of red-handed, where money is found, but there is no money? So that is one part of the case. But I don't want to comment any further on that. Investigation will tell us. And you need a police investigation, not an investigation by 3 judges. That cannot help. You need a forensic investigation. Large number of CDRs, large number of CCTV footage, different personnel of police, fire department, NDMC, CRPF, all that has to be kind of collated and examined. Now the second question. You see, obviously, it's a huge dent in the heart of the judicial dispensation system where people see this kind of thing. And if the judge is guilty, strict action should be taken at the earliest. Now, the larger issue is, according to me, the old debate of the manner of appointment of judges and
right.
the manner of disciplinary proceedings against judges has to be relooked at. According to me, the appointment system of the collegium is completely unsatisfactory and opaque. That was not what the Constitution said. The Supreme Court has interpreted the Constitution somewhat selectively in its judgment, where consultation with the Chief Justice has become concurrence of the Chief Justice. I'm sure there is a clear difference between the two words, but that's how the judgment stands. So the attempt to bring in some sunlight was by the NJC Act 10 years ago. That was struck down by the court because the court did not want to give up the power of appointment. All right, if the NJC was bad, we can have some via media, some sunlight, some outsiders who have a committee which should recommend judges and not only judges selecting judges. Anyway, that's one debate. The second issue is we must have a better system.
That's right.
For purposes of disciplinary action. Today, the only action under the Constitution is impeachment. Impeachment is so laborious, complex and difficult that no impeachment has happened in the last 75 years. You require 100 MPs of Lok Sabha to commence an action for impeachment. Then it requires an admission order by the Speaker because some material has to be shown. That requires a debate. Then it requires a full-blown inquiry of judges judges being members of a committee appointed by the Speaker. That's a full-blown inquiry where examination, cross-examination, production of documents, etc. is there. After that, the matter has to go back to the House for debate. Then in that debate, 2/3 of the members sitting and voting have to approve the motion, and motion has to be in that session alone. So, the parliament and the government and the stakeholders, including public, lawyers, etc.,
Yes.
must bring about a consensus to remove this so-called impeachment system, bring in a more smoother system and smoother manners of investigation.
Okay, so you are of the opinion that the impeachment system which is there should be done away with. There should be something more that is needed, which is perhaps faster.
No, because ultimately, see, the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Yes.
3 or 4 attempts of impeachment have been made in the last 70 years. Nothing has succeeded. Nothing has come to, fruition. Therefore, you have to get rid of that system. Times have changed. Bring out a new system, a faster system. Because justice system cannot brook any delay. Because if the dispenser of justice is himself under a cloud, what kind of justice will be dispensed? But I must tell you one thing. I am very happy that the Supreme Court in this instant case has been more transparent than it has been in the past. Everything is now in public domain. And I think hats off to the Chief Justice of India for taking such a courageous stand, for showing everything to the public.
Yes. Mr. Rohatgi,
That's where-
this incident certainly has highlighted the need for greater transparency and accountability within the judiciary. The question is that judges have to appear, just like Caesar's wife, above suspicion. In this particular case, there are several unanswered questions, including the source of that cash. How did it reach that house? Was it, as Justice Varma said in his explanation, when that explanation was sought by Justice Upadhyay of the Delhi High Court, he said that cash doesn't belong to him. So there are a lot
Maria,
of questions that have to be answered.
Yeah, first thing, where is the cash?
Yes.
Where are the burnt notes? That's the first thing. The second thing is, you examine the CCTV of the last 3 months. How was that room accessed? Did it have a lock? Or did it not have a lock? Who had the key if it was locked? CCTV would show how it was accessed. It may also show sacks coming in, because sack is not something you put in your pocket. How could sacks come in? There is CRPF at the house of every judge. It's not that simple that you bring in sacks. So what was in the sacks? Was it notes? What was it? I don't know. And today the material is gone. So you require circumstantial evidence, because the primary evidence is gone. But whatever it is, get down to the bottom of it at the earliest, is what I would say.
Okay, my last question, because these allegations of corruption within the judiciary, something has to be done from within the judiciary to protect the reputation of judges as well.
So obviously, as I said, bring in a more transparent system, starting with appointment, going on to disciplinary systems. And transparency can only be if you let in some sunlight, bring in some outsiders, men on the public platforms of high integrity. It could be, you could even have a statesman-like person, you could have an author, you could have a Nobel laureate, you could have a Bharat Ratna, you can have some of those people. And then, so that it instills confidence, because people generally say, oh, judges are appointing judges, they are appointing the relative of a judge known to them. All this kind of talk is going on. To remove all this, you must have sunlight, which is the best disinfectant.
As a member of the bar, how do you look at Allahabad High Court's move, where they have unanimously said that they will not accept this judge in Allahabad High Court?
I think it is too hasty a decision, because I am still not very convinced in my mind, as of today and as the facts are placed today, that it's an open and shut case. So I don't think one should, start off with these kind of remarks off the cuff. Let us see what material is brought out. Let us see what this committee reports, and then we should take a call. And as it is, you see, the judge work has been withdrawn from the judge. So as I said in the beginning, what difference does it make whether he stays in his house in Tiglak Lane or whether he stays in his house in Allahabad? What difference does it make?
Mr. Rohatgi, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time. That was former Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi speaking to NDTV and sharing his views on what has been one of the most dramatic and shameful episode involving the Indian judiciary.